building the bridge, fostering the startup ecosystem. We will start with Dr. Abdullah Shikeli.
Dr.
Yes,
Go ahead.
It seems I'm always promoted as a panelist. If you can just remove me.
Yes, yes, Doctor. Dr. Hanadi, you can hear me?
I can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you fine. We can hear you fine.
Yeah, okay then. So good evening to everyone, and you are most welcome to this session, which is about building the bridge, fostering a thriving startup ecosystem. And in this 1 hour, we have three speakers. Dr. Ayman Shikri, he's an executive member of the Entrepreneurship Center at University of Nizwa and Sultanate of Oman, and he's a specialist in strategic marketing for the startups. We have also Dr. Michael, Vice President for Academic Affairs at Stockton University. We have also Dr. Abrar Al-Alawi. She is also a faculty at the Management Department, and she is also a researcher at Entrepreneurship Center, University of Nizwa. So I would like Import to welcome all of you today in this 1 hour session. And first of all, we will start now with Dr. Ayman Al-Shikri. So Dr. Ayman, you can please start your presentation. You have 10 minutes, then we can summarize some points and discussion in the remaining 5 minutes.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good morning to everybody and good evening also. I know somebody is from away from our regions, our Gulf region. So thank you, Dr. Abdullah, for introducing me. My name is Ayman Shikri. I'm an executive member of Entrepreneur Center in Nizwa University. So my presentation today examining how to adapting an ecosystem strategy. Let me share my screen with you. So let me go for the presentation. So where I get this, because I'm dealing with Google Meet, another, I think this one, let me share, yes.
Yes, you can share.
Yes, it is now shared with you. Okay, this one, okay. I think it is visible now.
Yes, it's visible. You can please start.
So I will, let me minimize this one. So I will talk today about the importance of the ecosystem strategy to startup sustainability. All you know that we, in today's dynamic business landscape, startup face numerous challenges, including resources limitation and market instability, and also concentrated competition. This is the outline. I will start the background and ending to the conclusion. So, as I said before, we have in startup facing numerous challenges, including resources limitation or market instability, also concentrated competition, and ecosystem strategies offers a valuable pathway for sustainability by fostering collaboration among the stakeholders. So startups play a crucial role in driving innovation and economic growth. However, many of these startups fail due to various factors, including inadequate funding and lack of marketing knowledge and ability for scales of operation, and many reasons, which that I mentioned earlier, and other many reasons. So as a response of the concept of the ecosystem strategies has gained traction, these strategies emphasize the importance of the interdependence among various entities, including suppliers and customers, and also even the competitors. We can consider them as stakeholders also. So the ecosystem theory suggests that the business are not isolated. Instead, they exist within the network of interconnected entities. These perspectives emphasize the collaboration over competition, where values are co-created among the partners. Therefore, the successful business flourish within the ecosystem that promote innovation, knowledge sharing, and resource optimization. Moving to the slide number two, about some statistics. So I get some statistics about recent data of ICD countries show the average survival rate at startups 3 years after founding 60%, while corresponding percent for 5 and 7 years, and are 50% to 40%. Here also in Oman, we have also failure after 3 years for the startups, and we can find this data in the Global Monetary Report, which is issued by NISWA universities. So the business ecosystem effectively address sustainability challenges, integrating complementary solutions for the various business in coordinate manners. So we know that sustainability for startups means maintaining operation while adapting environment, social, and economic change. We have here some examples about some of the companies that develop strong ecosystems. For example, you can see here Apple's, they deliver apps and software partners centered around the iOS, and also the Visa, and also the Amazon. We have to determine whether the business ecosystem effective approach to tackle sustainability issues. Startup should be first identify the main barriers that hindering these progress. This is the role of the ecosystem strategy. We have resource optimization, enhanced innovation, and market access and scalability, and risk mitigation, and social environmental impact. Due to the lack of time, I'll go through the slide number, the next slide. So this is how to adapt ecosystem strategy. Firstly, we have to identify the stakeholders, which is going through mapping our ecosystem and identify our potential partnership, including suppliers, customers, regulators, competitors, and other stakeholders. Building relationship, define value proposition, and leveraging technology, fostering collaboration, and establish governance structure, implementing pilot project, which is very important for the startups, and also measure the success, and also adapting and evaluate, and also engaging the community, which is the last stage of the adapting strategy of the ecosystem strategy for startup. This is the element of startup ecosystems. Maybe it is not a comprehensive one, but it is consist of the most of the. This is based in my study in my PhD about the elements, most elements. For example, we have education, universities, government policies, programs, accelerator and incubator, and also startup itself, physical infrastructure and visitors, social culture norms, and research and development. And if we look for these elements, it is maybe they are very complex and ever-evolving network and individual organization business to come together in order to create a value or outcome for the society, for the people, for the startup itself. For example, we have the outcome is about the customer experience, maybe more capital for the startups. We will increase innovation, quality in life, sustainable growth, and also social and environmental impact. This is a good example for leading startup ecosystem around the world through the Genome, Startup Genome website. You can look at that, and this is I compare between 5 cities around the world, between Beijing and Boston, and Amsterdam and Dubai and Laos. So this is about ecosystem value. It gives us the rate here and early stage founding and exit value. Also, we have a good example or role model for startup ecosystem for the countries, Estonia, and we can also discuss about Estonia later. So my conclusion is the adoption of ecosystem strategy is vital for sustainability for the startups, and also by fostering cooperation, optimization, resourcing, enhancing innovation, and mitigation risk, startup can be built a resilient business model that serves the competitive environments. Moreover, aligning with the partners share similar values can amplify the social and environmental impact, contributing more sustainable futures. As the business landscape continues to evolve, a startup must be embrace strategies or embrace ecosystem strategies to navigate challenges and capitalize the opportunities for growth and sustainability. And thank you so much for your listening. Sorry, I was too fast. I hope my presentation is crispy and good. Thank you so much. I'm sorry to my voice because I was under the weather.
Yes, thank you, and we consider your health issue, Dr. Ayman, and thank you so much. So, Ayman, he tried to explain the relationship between the ecosystem of startup and its impact on the startup's outcomes. And one of these good impact is about the sustainability of the startups and how can the startups exactly they will take a benefit from a good ecosystem. So that means we need to foster how we can foster. Ayman, he said that how we can foster the collaboration between different stakeholders in this ecosystem. Okay, then so I think now we'll move to Dr. Michael. Dr. Michael, you are with us now.
I am. Thank you. I appreciate it. Good afternoon, good evening to our colleagues around the world, particularly to our hosting colleagues in Kuwait. I'm Michael Palladino, the Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs at Stockton University in New Jersey. It's a little bit after 10 a.m. on the East Coast of the United States for us.
Yes.
Here.
Yeah. So we about these time differences between the different world, but it's very thanks to Dr. Hanadi that she joined us under one conference network. So welcome, Dr. Michael.
Great. No, thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So really, my pleasure to spend a few minutes with you in this session. I also want to take a moment to thank my Stockton University colleagues involved in this conference, particularly Dr. Michael Buzler, our professor and chair of our finance program, and again, our hosting colleagues in Kuwait and around the world. My thoughts for this morning, for this evening, for all of you is really to share some thoughts more from a perspective than a formalized presentation with slides, as I understand this conference. And for a little bit of context, I would share that I'm a molecular biologist and geneticist by background, and former dean of science and engineering. And I mention that because I've done a great deal of work on international collaborations, quite a bit of work in China, India, and in the Middle East. And I share that because I appreciate virtual conferences such as this one, because ultimately, whether you're a scientist, an engineer, or an economist, we're talking the same language, right? We face many of the same challenges in our societies, and innovation and technology will help us meet those challenges with creative solutions. So sessions such as these are very important for sharing and for learning from each other and fostering collaboration. And again, I appreciate this as an opportunity and appreciate the broad range of topics that will be discussed over the next 2 days. So I want to spend a few minutes talking about some themes in higher education that I think are relevant to the conference. And I'm going to touch briefly on 4 trends in higher education that certainly impact us significantly here in the United States, but I know this is true around the world. And the first one is what I would describe as predictive analytics, particularly with respect to student success. So traditionally here in the States, we've collected a lot of information about students once they enter the university, undergraduate and graduate students, from simple information such as demographic information about them personally to things such as their major and their grade point average. Right? But in the States, this traditional approach has largely led to reactive uses to help those students. So if a student GPA is low at middle of the term or the end of the term, we'll do some things to attempt to intervene. But this approach is of limited value and success because identifying the problem once the student is far into the problem may not enable us to be able to help that student. And particularly as the demographic of students we serve is changing. For many institutions in the United States, and this is true of Stockton, the demographic is changing in a variety of ways. We're seeing more students of color. We're seeing more students of financial need. We're seeing more students who are first generation college students, that is the first in their family to go to college. Students are working more than in prior generations. Students who have experienced the COVID pandemic, which has affected them emotionally, socially, in the ways they learn, such as virtual classes, right? Something they never had before. In fact, here in the States, this fall is the first time we have undergraduate students who've not experienced disruptions from the pandemic. So the needs of these students are very different. So when I talk about the predictive analytic wave here in the United States, increasingly a variety of metrics and demographic information on students that we can now consider as predictors of difficulty or predictors of success, and then be proactive to offer interventions to those students. So for example, we know that if you're a first generation male student in a certain major and you're commuting and you're working more than, let's say, 20 hours a week, we can know fairly clearly that you're likely to have difficulty in a particular course. And we can use that in predictive ways now to prepare in advance and offer required tutoring or study sessions. We can do the same thing for attendance tracking, right? So increasingly, schools that are becoming much more sophisticated in their use of these predictive analytic tools are going to be much more successful at retaining students. And many institutions are doing this very well. That's the primary goal, right? Retaining students for their success so they finish in as short a time as possible with the least amount of debt as possible, which is ultimately good for the financial bottom line of the institution. The second theme, which I know is very much being discussed a lot during this conference, of course, is artificial intelligence. And as I'm sure many of my colleagues on the call know, when ChatGPT and generative AI emerged, I was at a university similar to many others, and faculty approached me about creating legislation or policy to ban ChatGPT, right? We've got to ban this for our students. We've got to ban this for our faculty. And in many ways, it reminded me of the same reactions that occurred when the graphing calculator came out. Mathematics faculty wanted the graphing calculator banned because they were convinced students would not learn how to do manual calculations with the advent of a graphing calculator. Well, in many ways, as you know, we've had AI with us for quite some time in many different everyday applications. But as generative AI has become more widespread, we're now seeing it become a plug-in for many common software applications such as Microsoft Office Suite. And that's only going to continue in the future, right? So in fact, we know that the best approach is not to ban AI. That's not to say we don't need plenty of guidelines and procedures for students and faculty and staff, but to teach students, faculty, and staff about appropriate applications of AI as a tool, and emphasizing that it is only a tool, right? It has many appropriate applications. It has many limitations. One example that I would share is things such as developing a rubric for grading an assignment. As an early stage faculty member, if I didn't have a sample rubric from a colleague, it might be trial and error to create a rubric, right? It might take me 3 or 4 times of teaching the course to refine that. But now with AI, you can generate a pretty good rubric, depending on the quality of the queries and prompts you use, that might get you about 75% of the way there, but it still advances your learning curve and your ability to be able to refine that than taking 3 or 4 rounds of teaching the course, for example, right? So again, the point of this part of the conversation is, as a tool, the sophistication of the prompts, how to create those prompts, is part of what we need to be able to teach students, right? And students also need to know appropriate and inappropriate uses, and we need to provide those guardrails. I'll give you another example from a lot of my work around the world, where in India, for example, we would encounter cultural differences all the time, where students doing group work in computer science, the group work norm there would be to share code and to write a program together, right? But those same students, when they come to the United States, could encounter potential plagiarism challenges because of the way faculty would consider that type of group work as being inappropriate. It's not right or wrong. It's a cultural difference in how we view that work. The final part of the reality is that students need to learn AI. Most employer data shows that AI is not going to replace employees, but employees who know how to use AI will replace those who don't know how to use AI, and we know that very clearly. The third theme, very much related to the second, which should be no surprise to this group, is really the incorporation of AI into business practices for universities. For example, in graduate admissions and enrollment management, we know that if a student expresses interest in a program and an AI-enhanced chatbot can respond to them and answer their question within minutes or an hour, we have a much better chance of engaging them further and potentially enrolling them at the university. That's just one simple example. And some universities have been very aggressive about incorporating AI, helping them become more efficient, helping them increase productivity, and decreasing staffing and resources in some cases. And I would say at my current university, Stockton, we're really just at the beginning of this process in terms of robust integration of AI into business practices. The last theme that I wanted to share that I thought this group may be interested in, particularly because you're working on the intersection of technology with so many disciplines, is that of telehealth. And I mentioned telehealth because in some ways the COVID pandemic here really demonstrated the value and utility of telehealth measures in different ways. Much like people were skeptical about online teaching to various degrees, there's a certain range of skepticism about telehealth. But in the United States, as is many cases around the world, we continue to experience tremendous increases in the number of students reporting serious mental health issues. And some of this is an increased awareness and acknowledgement that mental health deserves just as much attention as one's physical health. It's also destigmatizing mental health challenges. But across the United States, most colleges and universities simply do not have enough staff to support the demand in mental health services that our students are experiencing. So many states, including here in New Jersey, have put several initiatives in place to provide remote telehealth services 24/7 to students that provide significant support. And I would share to not underestimate the impact this technology is having on mental health support, just-in-time support for students, faculty, and staff. It's not a full replacement for in-person help, but when someone is in crisis, having some level of engagement and support to help them through the next step versus no support, if an office is only open certain hours, is much, much better. So this is a significant impact of technology in terms of support of the mental health and well-being of our students. So in the few minutes that we had together, I wanted to share these four themes from my perspective as a university administrator, in part because I'm sure these are themes related to challenges you're encountering wherever you may be around the world. And again, I thank you for the opportunity to share these few thoughts and to see some of our international colleagues here in this gathering. So thank you all.
Thank you so much, Dr. Michael. Thank you for sharing with us your thoughts and your experience at your university regarding how to foster the technology in the university business operation. And as mentioned by Dr. Ayman about the stakeholder who is working in the ecosystem of startups, and you have mentioned exactly now about your experience at the university, because the university is one of the key elements of this stakeholder. So I think you have a good you have started a good way of how to enhance this innovation and the talent people at your university. But do you think that the impact has been started with your students, and you have a good practice from the students who are using the innovation like this way?
Well, it's interesting. I don't know that we have a good handle on that yet. I can also tell you that faculty have expressed a lot of concerns about potential plagiarism, but I think it's confusing for students, especially with AI, right? If AI tools are now part of Word and you're creating a document, right, and then you take advantage of those tools as a plugin, and then you run that same document through a plagiarism detector and its use of AI, it becomes a slippery slope, right, in terms of to what degree generative AI has contributed to that document. And a lot of it depends on the guide rails that a faculty member gives in terms of their expectation.
Yes. Okay, then, Doctor, thank you so much. Thank you for being with us in these few minutes. And let me now move to Dr. Abrar Al-Alawi. Dr. Abrar, you are with us?
Yes, Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Yes, please.
So I'm going to share my screen first.
Yeah. So Dr. Abrar is one of the research team member for the Global Entrepreneurship Monitor in Oman, and she is also a faculty in the management department. So please, you can start your presentation now.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Abdullah, for introducing me. So I'm Abrar Al-Alawi. I'm one of the faculty member in the College of Economics, Management and Information System. I'm also a member in the Global Entrepreneurship Monitor Consortium and a researcher working in different areas related to entrepreneurship, motivation, and human behavior. So today we'll be presenting such a comparative analysis or comparative debate on GEM expert ratings for government policy, taxes, and bureaucracy across 5 Gulf countries from 2020 to 2023. So this is going to help us actually to understand how government support, how the regulation impact entrepreneurship in Oman or in the other Gulf countries. So in this presentation, we're going to start with the background, then I'm going just to talk about the role of government policy in entrepreneurship, and an overview of the data that I used in this presentation. Then we're going to debate the expert ratings of the entrepreneurial framework conditions for Gulf region countries over the past 4 years, and the key insight out of this discussion and also policy implications. So the Global Entrepreneurship Monitor, or which is called GEM, is actually one of the prominent global body providing annual insights into entrepreneurship by studying like aspects or characteristics like entrepreneurial activities, motivation, innovation, and other aspects, and also through the NES data or National Expert Survey. It shows the entrepreneurial framework condition assessment. So the focus today is on GEM ratings regarding government policies, taxes, and bureaucracy, and their impact on the business environment. So specifically this presentation going to examine the scores of Gulf nations from 2020 to 23, and we're going to understand how each country is facilitating or for example maybe hindering the entrepreneurial growth. So the previous literature actually regarding the supportive government policies and simplified bureaucracies processes are widely recognized in literature.
For you and for your president or vice president for their thoughts.
So there might be some interruption, but anyhow, let us continue. So it is widely, as we say, these supportive government policies are recognized in the literature as a catalyst for entrepreneurship. So, for example, the accessible tax incentive and efficient regulation processes can for sure reduce the limitations or let's say barriers that enable entrepreneurs to start up their businesses or grow their venture. Particularly in the Gulf region, government initiatives such as in Oman, we're having Oman Vision 2040, and in Saudi Arabia, they're having the Vision of 2030, and the UAE's National Innovation Strategy, all help in shaping a business landscape. So Today we're going to see how these strategies are translated into GEM ratings. So the data used here is to assess the entrepreneurial framework condition, and we're going to focus on the scores given for government policy, taxes, and bureaucracy, whether in Oman, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Qatar, and UAE. So this data going to be presented from 2020 to 2023. And here as per the government policies out here, you can see that the higher country related to government policies, relevance and support in MENA countries, UAE followed by Saudi Arabia, and then Oman and Qatar and Morocco. While related to taxes and bureaucracy in MENA, UAE was the highest or recorded the highest scores, followed by Saudi Arabia and then Oman and Qatar. So, related to Oman, GEM scores for Oman, as you can see here, it varies from year to another. So for 2020, it started at 4.3. Then in Q1, actually, it dropped to 3.7, which indicates challenging year, possibly due to the pandemic-related maybe adjustment of policies and so on. And the following year, which is 2022, shows a significant recovery because they reached to 4.2 in that exact year and increased to 5.1 in 2023. So these improvements might also reflect how Oman made adjustments on policies to adapt to the overall entrepreneurial environment. Then moving to United Arab Emirates. Here, as we can see that United Arab Emirates has a consistent increase in their scores, where there is a notable peak in 2021 at 7.5, and there is also a slight dropping in 2022, where it reached to 6.9. So this stability and high performance shows that the United Arab Emirates committed to provide entrepreneurial environment with low tax burdens on minimal bureaucratic challenges, which also promise good environments for the entrepreneurial activities. Then moving to Saudi Arabia. In Saudi Arabia, as we can see, that related to the government policies related to taxes and bureaucracy, there is a steady and consistent increase in the scores, as it starts from 5.3 in 2020 to 6.4 in 2023. This progressive improvement actually aligns with the ongoing reforms under the Vision 2030. So this emphasizes the diversification of the economy and encouraging entrepreneurial venture. So for sure, this reflects Saudi Arabia's commitment to make regulatory environment and more friendly environment for businesses to start up. Then moving to Qatar and the situation in Qatar, as the ratings have fluctuated across the 4 years. The scores in 2020 started with 5.8, then dropped to 5.3 in 2021, with slight improvement in the next year, 2022, and 6.3 in 2023. So the pattern of improvement and the declining reflects Qatar evolving regulations and the continuous adjustment on policies. And might be the efforts to support the entrepreneurship environment, and also finding the suitable regulation framework to foster entrepreneurship. The last country, which is Kuwait. Kuwait participated in the GEM survey only in 2020, which scores 4.5 as ranked 15th out of 45 participating countries that year, which suggests moderate performance with for sure room for policy enhancement. So here, as discussed, the results that we already discussed. So just to conclude that looking at these trends, as we see that countries with consistent government support, such as UAE, Saudi Arabia, tend to have stronger scores. And this highlights the importance of consistency in policies making and how to support the businesses, while countries with fluctuating scores like Oman and Qatar may impact the policy change or external challenges that can have on entrepreneurship. So, policymakers across the region might benefit from examining these differences to find areas for improvement in their entrepreneurial frameworks. So, policymakers as I say, policymakers in Gulf countries can draw from the UAE's regulation as a model, which while Oman and Qatar might work towards policy stability to increase their entrepreneurial support. Also, the tax incentives and reduced bureaucracy could help in boosting the scores in countries for improvement.
Okay, Abrar, because the time is up. You have 1 minute, please to conclude.
Okay, just to conclude, like the GEM ratings from 2020 to 2023 revealed as the UAE, Saudi Arabia stand out with the strong scores due to well-planned policies and reforms. So these findings underline the streamlined government policies, the tax incentives, and the bureaucracy in each of these countries. So thank you very much for your time and attention.
Thank you, Dr. Abrar, for this interesting presentation, which you compare about the ecosystem among some GCC countries based on the expert rating on the Global Entrepreneurship Monitor, and you have compared in 4 years. So thank you so much. And as we have seen today in the discussion, so Ayman here was started to talk about the stakeholder and who are working in the ecosystem and how the ecosystem has an impact in the outcome of the startups. Then Dr. Michael, he tried to share with us his experience and knowledge about how the university they're also adapting some technology which can also help to enhance the ecosystems of startups through increasing the awareness of the students about the technology. Then we have seen Abrar, she has also discussed about the impact of the government policy and the government tax and bureaucracy in the in the startup ecosystems. I would like to share with you also some thoughts today about the role exactly of higher education or the role of universities uh, in fostering these startups ecosystems. So, as we know that there is a transfer nowadays for the universities from just a traditional way of delivering the knowledge to what is called today entrepreneurial universities, or what is called the fourth generation of the university. So those universities, their main role is how to commercialize the knowledge and transfer the knowledge to the market. So universities should work now on how to support these startups, which is coming from the knowledge or coming from the innovation, or maybe it's coming from the research output, and how to transfer and commercialize this knowledge to the market. So entrepreneurial university is one of the mechanism nowadays is used for the regional development, and this is they can help to accelerate and enhance the economic and the social growth. So the process of turning any idea into an innovation and then to the commercial products, it is not an easy, it is an complex, and it needs a sufficient effort from both from the academic, from the ecosystem, and also from the entrepreneurs. So most of the universities nowadays, they try to enhance the mindset of the entrepreneurships, and this is it can be through different way, and it can be through creativity and innovation. It can be through different 21st century skills like the leadership. It can be through encourage the students to take a risk and about how to recognize the opportunity. So as we know, this is the ecosystem which is working nowadays, and they adapted by many of the contexts, and we can see how can the university it's playing a vital role in this ecosystem. And we can see that the academia, through the researcher students and research project, through the knowledge creations, how they can be transferred to the business or to the industry, and this is it can be through different kinds of things. So maybe this is through technology transfer office, through the scientific incubators, through the prototyping services. And when we would like to analyze the entrepreneurial ecosystems for the university, we have to look to different aspects. We can look to about the leadership strategy at the universities, about what kinds of programs and support activities, about how can the university they encourage the marketing of the students and how to link them to the market, about the policies and the guidelines like the IP policy and the knowledge transfer policy, the R&D transfer, how the university they can also help the students to access to finance, and also one of the most important things is about through the education and capability building. So the role of university in order to foster these thriving startup ecosystems is by preparing those students to be an entrepreneurs in the future once they graduate, and also to have a role in order for the economic growth and economic development. And this is it can be through different things, and maybe it can be started from enhancing the personal traits and the intention of the students to be an entrepreneurs in the future. And this is it can be through different activities like the university curriculum, like the activities which is can be done inside the university camp. So university they can provide these things through different activities, and which can enhance the innovation and entrepreneurships ecosystems through, for instance, novel science, through technical and scientific training, through the education, and many other facilities which can be enhanced inside the universities. So this is exactly, and we are at University of Nizwa. We have also an entrepreneurship center, which also working with the university management in order to enhance like this kind of entrepreneurial activities. So by this, I think we have discussed different entrepreneurial ecosystem startups. Um, we can also, I can, in the remaining time, we can discuss with the panelists about different topics. And let me start with Dr. Ayman Al-Shikri. So, Ayman, you have mentioned about the impact of the ecosystem on the sustainability of the startups. So, what do you think about nowadays? We have this for the digital transfer. How can the ecosystems they can support and develop this kind of transfer?
Thank you so much, Dr. Abdullah. So nowadays, if you can see that the ecosystem elements, maybe we can say that the ecosystem, the AI and the other stuff of technology is one of the players, and they have the great effect in the ecosystem. So we can consider them as a critical successful factors that affect the ecosystem. So I think we need more studies about the effect of the technology in the ecosystem. I think we have studies, but we don't have enough comprehensive studies about the technology. Implementing technology, maybe fostering the businesses and the and ecosystem strategies will be using technology enable startups to align with the other partners and share similar values and promoting social responsibilities. So we need the technology actually in order to collaborate and lead initiatives to address social challenges and enhancing startup reputation. We need this technology in order to understand the stakeholders, also to understand what is happening in the world. I think the new generation or the fifth industrial revolution will be about the AI and the other things.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Dr. Ayman, for sharing your feedback and comments on this point. And Dr. Michael. Dr.
If you
Michael.
allow me, Doctor, if you allow me to ask, because Dr. Michael is present an interesting topic about the using AI. I would like to ask him about the regulation around the world. So I think he's maybe he has quite information about the regulation around universities, how they are dealing with the AI and technology in their university. To me, I was studying in UTM University in Malaysia. They allow students to use at least 20% in their dissertation. Using AI. So, Doctor,
Yes,
can you share experience?
Yeah, it can be nowadays. The AI is coming, as we call it, a new source of competitiveness in higher education. So, how can this artificial intelligence application has an impact in higher education institutions, and how can the AI also they can direct the future of higher education institutions, and but as Dr. Michael has mentioned is about the limitation about the AI, and he has also mentioned that the AI they cannot replace the human, especially in the higher education institution. But as you mentioned, Dr. Ayman, maybe we need some policy regulation for this AI inside the ecosystem, and we will see how can the impact of the AI in the startup ecosystems. So we hope that Dr. Michael will return to the panelists for the discussions, but we can move now to Dr. Abrar, and we can see also about the digital transformation policies. So this developing these digital transformation policies can enhance the startup ecosystems. So what do you think? How can the government they can develop these kind of policies?
Thank you, Dr. Abdullah, for this interesting question. For sure, nowadays, entrepreneurial activities are more oriented towards digital era, using either artificial intelligence or the other technologies like Internet of Things and so on. So, having actually clear and supportive policies for those startups will help them to start up smoothly, will help them to establish their businesses with the clarity and consistency, because I think these are new areas somehow, especially to the Gulf region, and adapting the government adaptation to such entrepreneurial activities will help support the businesses to start up, because also nowadays we're seeing that the AI might intervene with such security issues or such problems that a startup might lose like such data or something related to their financial records or something. So having some, I think, or adaptive policies for sure going to boost this digital based entrepreneurial activities.
Yes, thank you, Abrar. Because see, as you mentioned, that the transformation policies and especially those which is related to the digital, it has a rule for the government in this global digital transformation is to ensure that the digital infrastructures is exactly as efficient, and they can guarantee an entrepreneurial ecosystem for investment in innovation and startups. So if you would like to enhance the entrepreneurial ecosystem, we can see how can the government they can build an infrastructures which can affect the digital transformation trend. Maybe also we can discuss with you, Dr. Ayman. This is related the sustainability, and how can the successful entrepreneurs they can influence the sustainability entrepreneurial ecosystems, because you have mentioned about the failure and the exit rate. So what do you think? What is the impact of these successful entrepreneurs on the successful of the sustainability of entrepreneurial ecosystem?
Thank you so much, Dr. Abdullah. Actually, sustainability extends beyond economic factors. It is encompass social environment dimension. Ecosystem strategies enable startups to align with the partners that they have a similar values, and this is one of the treasures, and also promoting social responsibilities and environmental sustainabilities. So this collaboration, Doctor, together, all stakeholders or all players, as they said in the ecosystems, can lead to innovative to address these challenges, and also to avoid the risk. So this startup landscape is working now in uncertainties, because Doctor, nowadays we have uncertainties like what happened before the oil crisis and COVID-19, and who knows what happened in the future. Nobody can predict what happened in the future. So
Yes.
Ecosystem strategies allow startups to share risks with the partners. So if you have a good ecosystem strategies, we can share the risk with the partners. By collaborating in a project and entering joint venture startup, we can mitigate the individual risk and environmental risk and enhance
Yeah.
resilience in market fluctuation. Of course, we have also other good points. We can also access the market, and we have market access and stabilities, and we can provide a border market through partnership, collaboration, established players, and can accelerate market entry and enhance credibilities. So many things.
Yeah.
Just so maybe we don't have enough time to explain about it. Even innovation, we can enhance it because innovation is a critical for startup sustainabilities and also economic
And yes,
strategy, foster environment and facilitate knowledge exchange collaboration. And this is one of the biggest points. We had to address it in the future, in our research future. Innovation does not mean only product innovation and process innovation. Also, it is technological innovation and other kind of innovation. Who knows what will comes else in the future about the innovation. This is a dictator from my side. That's from my side.
yeah. Thank you, thank you, Dr. Ayman. And we can say that how can the policymakers can exactly give enhance and support this by giving access to extra resources and opportunities for those successful entrepreneurs, because we know in any ecosystem there is a successful entrepreneurs who are taking a benefit from the ecosystems. So the policymakers, they can strengthen this by exactly giving more access and for the opportunities and showing their cases. Okay, then I think now we have completed these sessions, and we can summarize that we try in this session exactly um, uh, to highlight about how can the ecosystems, how we can building the bridge of the ecosystems which can enhance and support the development of startups. And we have discussed from different perspective. We have discussed it from the general perspective from the ecosystems. We discuss it from the technology aspects, and we discuss it also from the point of the government policy, and also we discuss it in point of the academic role in the entrepreneurial ecosystems. So thank you so much for your insight, feedback, and contribution to these sessions. And I hope that we already have a good time together today and to share our thought and knowledge with the worldwide.